Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GGW podcast, Gooners Gone Wild. I'm here with Doc, Sammy, and our version of Win, Pablo. Everyone say hi to Pablo. Hi, Pablo.
What's up, buddy?
Pablo, what are your thoughts on this week's performance of Burnley versus Arsenal?
Riveting stuff.
Riveting.
All right, I'm just gonna say I got distracted at that big old bottle of lotion that you have on your back. All right, but continue.
No, that was great. That was great. But all right, and we're here with Ari, of course. Ari's here, but Pablo's the main star. Of the show. There he is.
There's Coach Ari.
All right, lads, it is finished. Arsenal 3. Burnley won with a Fabio Vieira red card, which we'll talk about. And also, since the game, we have VAR audio to talk about. So we will get into that in a little bit. But, Doc, what was your first impression? You were at Old City, interviewing some lovely people known as Arsenal Fans USA Media. So how was your experience at Old City, and how was your experience with the AF USA Media boys?
Fantastic. Old City's great as always. It was a little bit of a lighter crowd, but the atmosphere is always great. Bro, just sorry, this is gonna be a distraction.
Yeah, this is gonna be a distraction. All right, let's put Coach Ari back on the screen.
Distracted. Yeah, get that camera set up. Homie's gonna be distracted. Everybody.
See him in frame.
But overall, always a great atmosphere. The AF USA guys are fantastic. Nigel, Orlando, cheers again for some interviews. Glad I could hop on the pod for you guys as well. And I talked to him a little bit. We may have some future collabs in the works between Gooners Gone Wild and AF USA Media. So stay tuned for that. But was really happy with the result. 3-1. Seemed like we started off a little bit slower, but Orlando, if you check out our interviews, Orlando from AF USA Media, I think put it best that teams are starting to play us this season a little bit more like they play the likes of City, where they'll sit back in a low block and we have to break teams down. We're going to have a majority of the possession. They're going to play counter against us, and we just have to break them down and create chances. And I thought we did a pretty good job. We ended the first half with a goal from Trossard, which kind of springboarded us into the second half, but couldn't be upset with the lads for this performance. What about you, Sammy?
Yeah. Me? I think it was a really good game, except for the clean sheet not being there, but again, it's okay. Unlucky that it takes a deflection off the foot, and obviously Ramsdale's nowhere to be seen, so it doesn't matter if it's a clean sheet or not. Raya's going to start regardless of if we let in one goal or 50, so...
I will say Raya had a really nice save that a lot of people were shouting that Ramsdale wouldn't have saved. I don't know.
Oh, down low, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have saved it, but yeah, I completely agree. He wouldn't have saved it.
Cat, he would have saved it. My keeper.
Hard to save it from the bench. Anyway, I think it was really good. I think Trossard had a really great game, and I think this is one of the games we saw why we signed him. And he was just able to break down that low block, like you were saying. And looking at previous results against Burnley, it was just like 1-0, and like they just defend so well, and it's just like horrible to watch. It's like agonizing how well they play defense. But I think the team did great, and I was really glad Trossard wasn't injured too severely. He put his body on the line. It was really nice to see that. Had him on the bench for fantasy, so it doesn't matter. Still won. But yeah, I think that really did kickstart us. And I think the one thing the commentators were saying is we haven't scored in the first 15 minutes of this season at all in any game.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like we've always talked about it. Like, every start to the game, we're always on the back foot. So hopefully that changes, like, after this international break where maybe those first 15 minutes we dominate and get a goal in early so we can set the rhythm for the rest of the game instead of being on that back foot and squeaky bum time early on and late on. What about you, VK?
Yeah, I think I think it was a pretty good performance. I think it was, as I believe Nigel was the one who stated this in your interview, a little bit scrappy at times. It wasn't the cleanest of performances, but I think that's something that we're going to expect when we don't have the big guns out there, like the likes of Odegaard, Jesus. We didn't even have Nketiah out there, which, is, to be honest, I'll see you later in January, Nketiah. I don't know. I think he's done with the team. I think Trossard put in a world-class performance. I think Trossard really is the unsung hero of this season so far. I think he's been by far one of the best players that hasn't been talked about. I think his performance has been incredible, and shout out Scout Ari for bringing him to the Emirates because he saw it before anyone else did. I think it was really great. I think the Fabio Vieira red card was a little harsh, but upon reflection, it's been given in the past. It's not been given in the past. There's no complaints there. Initially I was a little frustrated with it, but I think I was just more frustrated at Vieira than I was at the referees, and we'll talk about that again in a little bit. But again, we got the business done. 3 points, 1 point behind City after they dropped points to Chelsea over the weekend in a classic Barclays footy match, and I'm looking forward to some of our upcoming fixtures. But how about you, Ari? How you feeling?
I've been I thought it was a really good performance, but I've been seeing a lot of stuff online, just speaking highly of our defense and how we're one of the strongest teams defensively this year, in terms of like goals allowed and just shots allowed on target and whatnot. And I do think that is a large tribute to Raya. I mean, I think he has been exceptional in terms of shot stopping ability. I do think he surpasses Ramsdale in that aspect of his game. And around the 30th minute, I think we could have gone behind with that Goodmanson opportunity, and he had a really good hand to it to keep it out. So I think that allowed us to go into the second half with momentum. So I think he has been exceptional, and I do feel that he takes the place for me, at least, because I think I also read he has one of the best save percentages as well in the league as well, where Ramsdale falls like very, very low amongst keepers. So
I mean, but to point that out, it helps whenever our defense is as solid as it has been. So those numbers can be skewed a little bit as well. It might be a little bit more harsh on Ramsdale for how he started out the season with Arteta. I think I've said it before, playing with a randomized back line compared to what we're playing with now. Dude hit a randomizer like he's doing a Champions. Dude hit a randomizer like he's doing a Champions League draw. Spun the pot and was like, "Yep, here we are starting today."
Party right back.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that has a part to play in it, but I do agree his save percentage and what he's contributed to the side does see him at the number one, at least for the foreseeable future, and potentially Ramsdale as a cup keeper if Arteta even plays him in the cups.
Yeah.
So.
It's a good point. It's a good point to make. And while we're just talking about the Ramsdale situation, we'll just talk about what's been going on Twitter the past week since the game happened. We're actually recording this very late compared to how we normally do, but since the game has happened, it's reports have come out that Ramsdale's father has gone through the media and was talking a little bit about how Ramsdale's going through a little bit of a depression spell, how he's kind of lost his smile at Arsenal. And then there's also been a clip of Ramsdale talking about, potential diagnosis of ADHD and how that affects him during the game. And I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of surprised to see how our fan base has kind of turned on him. Because I feel like we talk a lot about on this podcast about how he's one of the sole reasons why we made it to Champions League football. So, even if he's not going to play this season, we should still be giving him his flowers. But what do you guys think about that, Sammy? I'm gonna start with you.
I completely agree with you. I think how we iced him out is very unprofessional, and I agree that he is the one that took us to Champions League. Like for the defensive part, he did really great last year, and yes, he hasn't had like a great start to the season, but also when he has had those great games, he's just been benched right after and hasn't been given a second chance. And I think that's completely unfair of Arteta to treat our goalkeeper like him. And obviously, they have some different aspects of them which make them better. Like I think Ramsdale is a good shot stopper, and Raya is good at playing sweeper keeper more than him. But again, Raya's not good with crosses and stuff like that Ramsdale is good at. But I think just to ice him out, and I think Arteta making that headline last month saying, "Oh, I thought about substituting goalkeepers before," was just a pathway for him to just say, "Yeah, I didn't want to play Ramsdale anymore." And I just think he should get another chance in the cup matches, even in Champions League. Like I think we're doing fairly well. With only one loss against Lens. I think Ramsdale should get a chance, and obviously having ADHD during the game is extremely difficult. And I wish him the best. I have ADHD, and it's just I know how it is to focus and imagine being in a game like that. But I mean, he's done extremely well, so I just wish him the best, and I hope he stays at Arsenal and he's able to have that redemption arc that he one shouldn't have anyway, because you shouldn't be iced out like that. But
Yep.
again, he should still have those chances. What about you, Ari?
Yeah, I think he has a lot of room to grow still. He's obviously fairly young, and I feel the same way as you do in terms of that he was unfairly iced out and he hasn't really gotten as many opportunities as he should. Being that he took us to where we are. I don't know. It's hard to say because I do think Raya overall is a better shot stopper, and I think he's a lot more solid. But I think that more so just comes with his age and his experience. It's hard to say. You really sympathize for him because he wants to be playing every game and he wants to play for England. But even I think even Southgate was saying it's difficult for him to choose Ramsdale because he's not even getting any games for international break. So it's really rough for him, and I feel for him. But
which is real quick, not to interrupt, which is BS because he still selects Maguire even though he doesn't play. So I'm calling Southgate out right now. That's
Maguire,
has horrible
Henderson, who
picks.
plays in Saudi, Calvin Phillips, who doesn't play.
yeah.
Southgate out, bro. He's
Yeah,
one of
facts.
the worst managers. Like I don't
Facts.
even support English internationally. It's just like such poor picks.
He just talks out of his ass. It's out of convenience.
But yeah, I mean, it's really difficult. I can imagine for him, and I understand why he'd be going through an emotional uh, downturn, and why his love for Arsenal has maybe died down a little bit. But I think if we're gonna be one of the best clubs competing for everything, we have to have that ruthlessness and that competition. So it's difficult to say. I mean, he should be getting more opportunities. But at the same time, I think Raya is a little bit better. What about you, Doc?
I agree that we have to be ruthless, but in my opinion, some of the decisions Arteta has made have been a little off to me, and this is one of them. I think he's being ruthless in the wrong areas where we need to be ruthless. We need a goal scorer up top that's going to just bag us goals. We had a goalkeeper that got us to Champions League. And we've talked about this before, but my biggest problem with the whole Ramsdale Raya situation was how Ramsdale was basically kicked out of the starting spot. And one of the big games was the very first Champions League match that we had. He was benched whenever he was one of the big reasons why we were in Champions League position and why we ended up where we were. So I think that if we're going to be talking about a keeper that would be coming in and taking Ramsdale's position, it would have to be a world-class top goalkeeper. We're talking like a Donnarumma potentially. We're talking about a freaking Jan Oblak. We're talking about these big-name keepers that would come in and naturally you'd be expecting them to start. Not somebody that, for me, in my opinion, they are similar in comparison in terms of skills, where it feels more of a sidestep rather than an upgrade for me.
For sure.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think Raya is a fantastic keeper. I think he will be world class, and I think he did deserve game time. Do I think that he deserved to just steal Ramsdale's, or I wouldn't necessarily say steal, be gifted Ramsdale's position immediately like that? No, I think Ramsdale should have had at least more of a chance to fight for that position than he did. But
Yeah.
so
I also think it's a little messy when you have family talking to media. I think we saw this a lot with like the Mesut situation, like when his agent was like his spokesperson. Like, no, I want to hear it come from. I'd much rather hear it come from the player. You know what I mean? Like, have Ramsdale go on an interview and just be like, "Listen, here's what." And maybe he's not allowed to, you know. But I just think whenever there's someone that's family or close to the player go on to media and start stirring up speculation like this, I think that's what leaves fans with bad taste in their mouth. I saw like a Ramsdale mistake compilation on Twitter, and I was like, that is like so toxic, just because it's like half of them weren't even his fault. Like, you know what I mean? It's just really unfortunate. But I think we could speak for the four of us on this pod that Ramsdale is a through and through gooner in our eyes. And you know, if he does end up leaving, I think it's gonna hurt a lot. I think this will probably be one of the biggest hurts since Arteta's come in. You know, since the likes of Alba, Ozil, stuff like that. And you know, if he does leave, we just gotta give him his flowers because he really did do a lot for us. But let's.
why did we get rid of Matt Turner? Like,
Yes, thank you. That's my boy. Shout out Matt Turner, Matty T.
if we're just gonna cycle in a goalkeeper every single season, what's the point?
And that's been happening. That's been happening. We had Renarsson, then we had Matt Ryan, then we had Turner, and now we have Raya. And it's just like, yeah, I know.
It's just such a difficult position because you have to be like everyone who's in that position. There's only one position for them on the field, so they want to be playing every minute, and I think that's why it's so difficult to keep a good goalkeeper and have a good backup because they want to be playing.
That.
Yeah, they want to be playing every 90. So,
but to constantly be buying a goalkeeper to challenge your number one makes me question why did we buy the initial goalkeeper if you're buying another one to challenge him?
Yeah, but we could be investing in more midfield depth, which is what we're lacking,
or
more winger depth.
Yeah. So Saka doesn't have to play every single minute.
He's got
from his hospital bed.
It's funny. We were I think I can't remember who said it in one of your interviews, but how someone said Man City has whatchamacallit? Oh my gosh.
It's Orlando.
Yeah.
The Viking.
The Viking robot. I think he said the Viking robot or something like that. Yeah. We have an English robot. Saka is just, he does not seem to get hurt like that, you know. Let's all right, so let's talk about some more positive things. Let's talk about the goals, because these goals were pretty great goals. We have the first goal, the Trossard goal, which again we talked about a little bit about Trossard putting his body on the line, something that we saw the likes of Kai Havertz and Eddie Nketiah not doing. So you know, it's good to see that someone's kind of playing passionately for the badge, and it came at a perfect time, the 45th minute. So I think that was a great goal. You guys have got anything else to add on the first goal?
I think he's solidified. Please God, I think he has solidified his starting spot at center forward for now, over Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I said it whenever I was at the bar to a couple of the 14th Street Gooners guys, and I said when I saw Eddie Nketiah was back in training and he was healthy prior to the match, I was actually a little upset or scared because I thought Trossard was going to go straight back to the bench immediately. I wanted to see Trossard up top again because, in my opinion, I thought he did the best job other than Jesus at creating for us and cycling with our wingers. Whenever he's in, Gabby and Saka just look so much more fluid because they can just swap places all over the pitch. I think at one point we saw Saka at right winger, Trossard all the way at, or Saka at left winger, Trossard all the way at right winger, and Eddie and Gabby down the middle. So I think that we are a lot more fluid with him and a lot more creative with him, and he just creates chances. He bagged the goal and had an assist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And there's a stat going around. Saka has assisted every single one of his Trossard's goals.
Every single one.
It was a Saka assist. So they're building a strike force partnership, which if I was Arteta, I would keep taking advantage of. That's an incredible stat to have. So then we go to the Bournemouth equalizer. Bournemouth. Oh my goodness. Burnley equalizer. It was a. Why am I forgetting what their equalizer was? Was it a? It wasn't a header, right?
It was a header.
It was a header. Okay.
Yeah, it was a header.
What do we think about that?
No, it was a deflected goal.
It was that
deflected
right,
shot.
right.
Gabriel's foot, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What am I saying?
We're thinking the
Saliba's goal.
Yeah. All right. The deflected shot fell
because they happened like 3 minutes after each other.
It did. Yep. So, all right. How do you feel about that goal going in? Is it something that could have been prevented, or did you just think that was just an unlucky situation?
I think it's just unlucky. I don't think there's not a lot we could have done. I think maybe Tomiyasu could have defended it a little bit better. He got beat by I think Koleosho.
Who had a great game, by the way.
His pace. I think we thought it might have been a foul at first as well, but I don't think there was enough in it to be a foul. I think he just got the better of Tomi, and then I think he played the diagonal ball back, and we made a tackle and it just rolled out and they just struck it first time and it deflected. I mean, it's difficult. The only thing I think we could have done better is just Tomiyasu's defending. Aside from that,
so you're saying no foul on Tomiyasu?
Yeah, I don't think it was a foul. I think we were talking about whether or not it was a foul in the group chat, but after watching it a few times, I can't conclusively say that. Yeah, I think it was a foul. Just because.
What is this VAR? Inconclusive.
Inconclusive.
Yeah. Inconclusive. We need to get a
yellow card for diving.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my god! If I would have saw a yellow card for simulation there, I might have actually screamed.
I think Goku got one in the City game. It was great.
He did. Yeah.
Nice.
It was definitely simulation.
Nice.
But I agree with Ari. I really don't have anything to add there.
Yeah, I initially thought it was a foul. I was kind of pissed. I'm not gonna lie, but then, like you said, upon watching the highlights back, I was like, okay, it was kind of like a 50-50. If anything, it should have been a foul on Tomiyasu first because he had the shirt wrapped around his hand first. So I think just unfortunately Tomiyasu did very poorly defensively there, but. I mean, he made up for it. I mean, he still had a really great game, nonetheless. And then, like Doc said, 3 minutes later, stunning header from Saliba to get his first of the season. I was singing the Saliba chant in public because I was in public. But yeah, it was that's a good talking point. Trossard set pieces have been incredible. They have been the best set pieces we have seen all season. Because no offense to Martinelli, no offense to Saka, their corners have been lacking this season. And I think to finally see the ball come in from Trossard on a in-swinger right to the head of a defender, just so all Saliba had to do was literally touch it and it went in, just because Trossard did all the work. And I think that's another thing that solidifies Trossard's starting position. But what do you guys feel about that goal?
Just nice to score from a corner once. I think I've mentioned it before. Every time like we see them on corners, it's just like we barely get past the first defender, and I was just shocked that we scored from a corner. And it was nice, and I was like, oh, Trossard has that skill to like put it right on someone's head, and obviously like our center backs are large and tall and can score headers. So we just need good delivery, and hopefully like he stays in the team so we can actually have like a aerial threat from set pieces. And I think we've been lacking that all season, and especially in like the first 15 where we struggle, if we get corners, like put Trossi on, like there's a chance we actually score now. So I think it's a good avenue of actually scoring goals moving forward if he stays on. If not, maybe he should teach like Saka and Martinelli like what he does, because someone please
just put him on.
Yeah. What about you, Ari?
Yeah, I mean, the build up to that was a brilliant bit of build-up play between Trossard, Rice, and Martinelli. Rice played Martinelli in behind, and Martinelli made the same run that we've seen him make countless times down the left, just cutting in and trying to finish it. I think he tried to make the goalkeeper, but he made the save, and then we get the corner. Trossard with a good service, and we get on the end of it. It was nice to see us respond so quickly. I was kind of worried after they had scored that we'd be struggling to find one for a while. So for us to respond within 2-3 minutes, just really put my mind at ease. So I think it was well worked and the corner was well done. But yeah, I do think that corners are a big part of our game that we need to improve upon. Because I do feel like we struggle against low blocks in terms of breaking them down and finding creative avenues around them. So
For sure. Doc?
Like Ari said, I feel like it was really nice seeing us respond so quickly. After tying it up 1-1 after Burnley did, and to see Saliba get a goal again. I think, when was his last goal? Was it the Bournemouth match last season, or did he score another one after that? That's the only one that I remember, just because of Vinny's reaction whenever he curled it back post, and so he just drops down to his knees like this. No, but it's really nice to see him get a goal like that, helping us in the attack, but being solid in the defense and faultless in the defense as well. So big up him for another fantastic match. Did he get dribbled past this match? Was it the first match that he got dribbled past?
I
feel like he might have gotten dribbled past. I think he got dribbled past once this match, which might have broken his streak of being dribbled past, never being dribbled past in the Premier League this season. I could be wrong, but somebody was saying that he has been dribbled past this year.
Oh, I think you're right. It was on the one mistake that Raya saved. It was when Tomiyasu played the ball right into the run,
so
and then Saliba had to make a recovery run, and because he was on the recovery, the back foot, he got dribbled past, which,
yeah,
I mean,
doesn't count.
Yeah, doesn't count. Not his fault. Not his fault.
No. But a great goal. What do you think, VK?
Nah, I mean, I just share the same sentiment. Great goal. Like I said, I just think Trossard just needs to be on set pieces for the rest of the season. I would love to see him in the starting. I really, really, really hope this is the start of his starting 11 run. I feel for Jesus. I mean, Nketiah should just pack his bags and go to Crystal Palace like he was join his brother Holdinho. But
Brentford and bring.
Oh yeah, swap deal for Tony. Yeah, for Ivan Tony. But yeah. I also feel for Jesus a little bit. I feel like we haven't seen Jesus at full strength yet, and every time he's like right there, he gets an injury, and I feel for him a little bit because he probably won't have a chance to prove himself in a long string of games because Saka's irreplaceable and Martinelli's irreplaceable in my opinion. If I'm looking at my front three, the only one that I'm rotating is Nketiah, Jesus, Trossard. But I digress. Just to segue into that, Trossard again with 2 assists, so 1 goal, 2 assists, with the third and probably the goal of the week, should be the goal of the week, and that is Zinchenko's Karate Kid kick. That's the only way I can say it is Zinchenko's Karate Kid kick came from a corner. Tomiyasu a little bit unfortunate for not scoring it off of a header. He hit the crossbar, but it was almost like a crossbar assist to Zinchenko. I'm gonna let Ari kick it off because that's his boy. But how do you feel?
That is my boy. He also had the service in for the first goal as well. I mean, Saka assisted it, but he provided the service from that middle channel. But yeah, I mean, great strike from Zinchenko. Not much to say. It just pops out to him. He has the composure to just, lift his foot up, put it top right. I mean, he's such a good quality player in every aspect. I don't know.
Maybe not his defending at times.
Yeah, maybe not the defending, but that's not where we deploy him.
And maybe not his political views either.
Yeah, maybe not his political views. Was I saying fuck Zinchenko in the group chat and then saying I love Zinchenko and then saying fuck Zinchenko and then saying I love Zinchenko? But whatever. As a footballer in the attacking mindset, I think he's phenomenal. Yeah,
for sure. Sammy, how about you?
Yeah, it was a great goal. I'm on Ari's train, but it's just nice to see him get up and think I'm going to do a little segment with a bunch of stats and give you guys some multiple choice questions after this, and I want you to take a guess.
Oh, I'm excited!
I love this.
All right.
I love this
has
so
that
much.
stat. So well, I'll do that, but I'll just end on goal that it was a good goal, and I think it really sealed that victory, and it was just like nice to know that we didn't have to have squeaky bump time towards the end, just because he ended it. All right. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, new segment.
I'm gonna keep mine quick because this is like.
All right.
Oh yeah, sorry, Doc. Go ahead.
Pokemon. Literally what it reminds me of. All right, let's get it.
All right. So we'll start. This is just going to be Arsenal side. Next time I'll get it together for like the whole game. But all right, this Arsenal player had the most touches the whole game. All right, so we got A, Saliba, Saka, Trossard, or Zinchenko.
I already know who I'm gonna say.
I also
Are we
know
just
who
gonna
I'm
go
say.
around and
Let's
say
just
it?
go
Yeah,
around
yeah.
and say it.
One by one.
All right,
Go.
I'm gonna go with Zinni.
I'm also gonna go with Zinni.
I'll go with
Ari?
Trossard.
It was Zinni, 113 touches.
Was Saliba second?
Saliba was second with 95.
Yeah.
That makes-
Let's go!
I was gonna say wingers don't get the ball enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie,
least
Sammy.
amount-
I low key psychologied you. I knew it was gonna be Zinchenko because when we were talking about Zinchenko, it triggered your thought of this segment. So that's why I kind of
He's fucking read me.
psychology.
All right, you won't win. You won't get this next one.
All right, let's run it.
All right. Least amount of touches was Raya. Second next was Kai Havertz. That's all I'm saying. And then Declan. Raya had 28. Havertz had 29. So do with that what you will.
Shout out Havertz, bro.
All right. This.
That's wild.
All right. So this
So
player.
wild.
This player lost
Like
the most
crazy.
aerial duels in the game. We have Saka, Tomiyasu, Trossard, or Havertz. It's that obvious,
Can
right?
we all say what we want to say?
Lost the most aerial duels this past
Aerial
week.
Well,
duels.
if
On the Arsenal.
Homie had 29 touches, I'm gonna go with Havertz, bro.
All right, go ahead. I'm still thinking.
I'll say
Maybe
Trossard
I'm
again.
just memeing.
You said Saka was an option, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Saka.
It's probably
it's
so.
Havertz.
No way!
He won 3, lost 4. 42% of aerial duels won. That's what we brought him in for, though. By the way.
What's this guy doing for us?
But who else? I think Declan Rice and Gabriel lost the next moment with 3, but obviously Gabriel.
Bro, I
can
love
understand.
I love this segment.
Yeah, I'll do
love
this next
this so
time.
much.
I'll do it with the whole game instead of just Arsenal side. And I'll do like 2 specific Arsenal ones. And the last one is who's going to win the league.
Let's go.
What are our options?
Come on, you Gunnar.
Arsenal
There's
or
only
Arsenal?
one option. baby.
This was
Arsenal,
multiple choice.
Arsenal,
Yeah, I say A
Arsenal.
Arsenal, A Arsenal, B Arsenal, C Arsenal, D all of the above. Which one are you choosing?
But yeah,
Man
I'll do
City.
that segment
Oh.
more so going forward. I think it'll be fun just to get our guesses in.
Hell yeah.
I'll let that
We'll say oh my god, it'll be like Sammy's soccer
Select.
statistics. Oh, selection. I like
Oh, okay.
There you go. All right, we'll work it out.
Alright.
Triple S. The triple S.
Less.
Alrighty. Honestly, I think that's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to end it.
Unless you want to talk about
I
that
mean,
bar audio
yeah.
being released.
I was about to say, no, we're gonna reel that back in,
Let's reel it back in.
and we're gonna
'cause-
talk about VAR.
But I was
I know
having
DK.
fun. I was having
No.
fun.
All right. So naturally, VAR has come out and released the audio on both the goal decision and a couple of the other decisions as well. I think the 2 big talking points for me would be the goal and the Bruno elbow to the back of Jorginho's head. VK, I'm gonna let you take your pick on what you want to talk about first. The floor is yours.
All right, all I'm going to say about the Bruno thing is they got that completely wrong. All right, I'm just putting that out there real quick. I want to talk about the goal because there was verbiage that was used in the VAR segment that I hated, bro. I'm going to ignore the no conclusive evidence because there is conclusive evidence. That's what you're there for. That is what you're getting paid thousands and thousands of pounds to do. There is conclusive evidence. If that's the case, then I want to see a lot of decisions not be overturned the rest of the season then. The thing that I want to talk about, though, is we heard a lot of, don't worry, mate, we got you. Don't worry, pal. Don't worry, bud. Don't worry, I don't know who else was in. There's a guy that had a nickname in there. This is a professional setting. I'm not gonna go to my boss and be like, "What's up, Jenny? Here's the report you wanted." I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's got to be professional. When you're saying, "Oh, don't worry, mate. We got you, mate. Hold on, mate." Bro, who are you trying to protect? Who are you trying to protect? It was so obvious that they wanted everything in their power to control this game and to not have Arsenal take 3 points. I mean, how are you going to say no conclusive evidence on the handball when we have screenshots on Twitter of conclusive evidence? How does the public have that and you don't? How does the public have access to the 2 frames that they apparently didn't rewind? They only went forward. Apparently you can only go forward in VAR now, where Gabby's going to jump and that's when the 2 hands are in the back of in the back of Gabby's back, which we saw Saka do in the Champions League game, and that was immediately called a foul. Or no, it might have even been the Burnley game. I think it was actually the Burnley game. When Saka did it to go to attack the ball, that was considered a foul. There was quite literally
significantly less as well.
I was even gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that there was no difference, but sure, you can argue that Saka's was less intense. You know what I mean? How is there no conclusive evidence? If there's no conclusive evidence, why do we have VAR in the first place then? VAR is to provide conclusive evidence. That is your job. And I think when we see Howard Webb talking to his goons and making sure, I think it was a little bit, the one thing I will give them, it was less hectic as we saw other decisions. The Liverpool-Tottenham game, for one. The Liverpool-Tottenham game was a mess. Trying to listen to that VAR audio, I couldn't keep up. This one was more communicative. It was more clear. They just got it wrong. Whether that's bias or no knowledge of the offsides rule that they apparently don't know, because they even said, "Oh, we're gonna check the offsides," and they're like, "No offsides. There's no forward motion." Or no.
But you can hear somebody in the background saying, "But you got to take into account the keeper's ahead of the player."
Exactly, and
somebody said that as well.
Yeah, and it was just, I don't know. I think it was. I'm not gonna lie. I'm low key just ready to move on because there's no point of us complaining anymore, because it's gonna be this season's gonna be a shit show. I think next season's gonna be a defining VAR turning point. I think we're gonna see a lot of referees get suspended again this year, and a lot of referees, get fired. And I'll even make the argument that VAR is supposed to not only just protect the players, but it's supposed to protect the referees too, and it's not doing their job of that as well. And I think if the referees want to keep their job, they got to tighten it up. Because everything's going to be exposed. Everything is going to come out eventually. And if we lose the league this year because of 2 points, there will be pitchforks, torches at Howard Webb's doorstep from Arsenal fans. That's all I'm going to say. I'm ready to move on. I'm going to open it up to you guys. So Sammy, go ahead. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I just think it's incompetence all around. It's just ridiculous. I didn't listen to the whole thing all the way through because he's just like elbow on his back. I don't see how that's enough to push him down. But I'm just like, bro, like, I want to go to his house and push him down the stairs and be like, oh, sorry, that wasn't enough to push you, bro. Like, are you serious? Like, he's jumping to clear the ball with his head, and you're pushing on his back and his neck. Like, how is that not enough? It's just ridiculous. I was like, I don't feel like listening to this because it's just pure incompetence.
Bro, I'm sorry. This is like, bro, I'm sorry. You were walking down the steps.
It's inconclusive evidence.
Inconclusive that I pushed you.
I was offside, so it doesn't count. But yeah, anyway, it's just ridiculous. I'm also ready to move past it, and just hopefully, like, damn, Pablo, you going in right now. And hopefully, like these next couple of games, like not even our games, like we can see why VAR was implemented, and hopefully, like more of these tenured refs are able to take a back seat and go down to the championship. I agree, Pablo. What about you, Ari? Ari and Pablo?
I mean, I was on Twitter as well, and I saw it come up on my feed, and I was like, I'm not even gonna watch this. I'm sick of it. I don't even want to hear what they have to say. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my mental. We just moved past it. It's over and done with. There's nothing we can do about it. We're not getting the point back. It's ridiculous. We ranted about this for a whole pod, so there's not much else to say. You know, it is what it is. I do think Mark is right though that VK is right that next season will be a defining moment for VAR and the direction that we take it in and how we use it. So hopefully it'll be a step in the right direction rather than continuously going backwards.
I think my biggest gripe with VAR and what it's become as a whole is it was supposed to come in and be used as a tool. Now I think it's being used more as a crutch.
Oh.
Where like center referees, linesmen don't have to make decisions. They can just let things happen. Like say for the goal, the center referee at any point in time seeing that foul could have been like, oh, it's a foul, or the linesman could have been like, oh, I think the ball's out, anything like that. What we normally would have probably seen potentially without VAR, but now we have referees and linesmen that are like, oh, I have VAR. I don't have to make a decision. I can just keep my flag down, or I can keep my whistle in my mouth, or keep it in my hand and not blow a whistle, and just have VAR look at it before I even make a decision. That's my problem with it at this point in time, is the fact that it's become more of a crutch than just a tool to use. Like, it should be used as, oh, I've made a decision. I'm not quite sure now after looking at the replays, maybe my decision was wrong. Rather than, I'm not going to make a decision. Or, like, essentially, yeah, I'm not going to make a decision. I'm just going to let VAR look at it and make the decision for me. It's taken too much control of the game and slowed the game down too much, in my opinion, and things do need to change.
Yeah.
I mean, we see that all the time as well with like the offsides. Like it's clearly 10 miles offsides, and they're afraid to raise their flags or to call it before, like, because they just want to let it run and have VAR decide for them.
That's what I mean. It's become more of a crutch than a tool at this point. I think we will see automated VAR and stuff like that. For offsides, goal line stuff, etc. And I think that's what we need. That'll at least speed up the process, hopefully.
Yeah.
But.
For sure. Yeah, I think. But then you see times, and I'll even defend VAR here. We'll see times where VAR is incredible. I mean, speaking from an Arsenal standpoint, like I don't think we can argue anything about Fabio Vieira's red card. Hence why I didn't really touch on it. I just think it was, he's a young player. He's going to make those mistakes. But, we saw the VAR offsides, Man United, Garnacho against Arsenal. I think that was incredible. We've seen a couple good VAR calls for other teams around the league as well. It's just when you start to see these patterns where Man City doesn't get any VAR calls against them, when Tottenham gets no VAR calls against them, you got to start looking at, okay, where's the underlying problem? Are they just the lucky ones, or is there something deeper? And I think that's something that needs to be investigated. And I have my opinion on that. I'll let that sit for another pod. But it's just something, that unfortunately we just have to live with, and it's affecting the game, and it's not going to change until something severely happens. And let's just hope it's not at Arsenal's expense. It already is kind of on Arsenal's expense, but let's just hope something worse doesn't happen. But. All right. Anything else before we end the pod?
That a little bit. It's actually really interesting that there's more of an uproar in the media whenever our manager talks about poor refereeing decisions than Manchester City having 115 counts of financial fair play issues against them. Like,
I think
there are issues there. And can we big up our manager for saying, good things about VAR against Burnley, and he's like, "Did you guys see that video?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
he
yeah.
said?
No,
I
I
love
didn't
him
see
so
it.
much. He's basically like, VAR did such a good job today, but I need you guys to hear me say that and to spread this as much as you spread basically what I said poorly about VAR as well."
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
to the reporter that was
interviewer
interviewing.
asked him about like Trossard or asked him about something with the game, and he goes, "Oh, you're not gonna ask me about VAR?"
Yeah.
And then that's when he went into that, and then he was like, and then I just liked how he added that we have to have humor in it and have some
Yeah,
fun and have
exactly.
fun with it, and then he moved on
Yeah.
with his presser, and I think that was a really cool thing to see, because
I love our
Yeah.
manager.
He's such
Arteta's
an
the goat.
eloquent speaker. He's
Yeah.
he's so smart and witty and quick with his words.
It's not the fucking standards, guys. But all right, y'all. I think that's
Oh,
oh,
boy.
Pablo came to say goodbye. Spotify listeners
great
in the
one.
mud. Just more of an excuse.
Yeah.
It's more of an excuse to come sub to this sub to the YouTube.
Homie's concerned right now.
He's hungry, dude.
No, he heard a motorcycle passing by. He popped up.
But all right, y'all. So
Man of the match.
we'll do man of the match real quick.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Doc, start it
For me,
off.
it's Trossard. For me, it's Trossard. I know Zinni had a really good match, but I think Trossard has come in and doing what he did, bagging a goal. And did you guys? He had 2 assists, or did it only count as one? It was
Uh,
1 assist, right?
One. Yeah,
Just
kinda
One. Yeah. So goal and an assist. Yeah.
One goal, one assist.
Because technically, Tomiyasu had the other one. Right?
No, was it a
was just
Trossard?
like a solo goal. What, Zinni's
For
goal?
Zinni. Yeah.
It just counted as a Zinni goal. No.
Oh,
assist,
did
'cause
it?
hit the-
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
okay.
sure.
But yeah, just class performance, and I think he stays at center forward.
Lit.
Ari?
I want to say Saliba just because I still regret not getting his kit because he's just such a good player. I think he's top 3 center backs in the world for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
easily.
for me, it's him.
I go Trossi as well. I think it was just a phenomenal performance from him, and he really led the attack, and that's what we needed in the absence of Eddie. I mean, yeah, Eddie, because he's so good at leading the attack and running around like a headless chicken. Anyway, on to you, DK.
All right, I think my man of the match is going to be Martin Odegaard. I think he led the press really well from his house, and I think the support was incredible.
I thought you were about to say Cedric, bro.
No, in all honesty, I will say I definitely think. I was gonna be very confident and say Trossard, but you know what? I will go Trossard. I'm gonna give him his flowers. I was really stuck between him and Zinchenko. I think Zinchenko had a really great game, but I just think Trossard edged him just that bit more than
That's
his
fair.
performances. But yeah, man. So real quick before we sign off, we want to give a huge shout out to Love Old City once again for being the unofficial official host of the Gooters Gone Wild podcast. We want to thank AF USA Media for having Doc on the channel. We really love and appreciate you guys, and hopefully there will be more stuff, more collaborations down the pipeline. And honestly, just a huge thanks to you guys. We hit 5,000 views on YouTube. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And we hit 100 followers on TikTok, and we're about to hit 100 followers on Instagram. That's all from you guys. So we love you all. Spread the word. Send it to all your Gooners friends. And as always, Gooners, come on, you Gooners. Dude, my badge is falling off. This is like the first kit I've ever bought. All right, bye, guys.